Can I request everyone to say sadhu to start the program?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, fully enlightened One. Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. As if smitten by a sword, as if his head were on fire, a bhikkhu should wander mindfully to abundant sensual lust. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So this is the verse that I'm going to discuss today. I'm going to start today. So possibly I will not be finishing it today. It might go on for a few talks. And we have taken this discourse from the connected discourses. And in that, there is a separate section called Devata Samyutta, or the Divine Beings section. And in that section, there is a separate chapter called Sati chapter. And in that chapter, you have this discourse, name of which is Sati. So this verse is from Sati discourse. So when the Blessed One was staying at Savatthi, as you all know, in Jetavana, the vihara, or the dwelling place that the great benefactor of Lord Buddha, Anathapindikasa, had done for him. So it has been the practice of the Blessed One to preach the divine beings. And those divine beings come when human beings are not around. So because they are so stinky, basically. So when they are fast asleep, the divine beings land in Jetavana, and they come and then ask questions and engage in discussions, and then pay respect to the Buddha, and many things are happening. Generally after midnight, but usually close to the very early hours in the morning. So this is something that has happened like that. At Savatthi, this particular name of the divine being is not given. He has come down and illuminating the entire Jetavana, and he has recited this verse in the presence of the Blessed One. So it's very nice the way he is presenting it. He says, as if smitten by a sword, as if an arrow has gone through his chest cavity and hurt his heart, or as if a head were his head was on fire. Bhikkhus are doing everything mindfully, and they are doing everything mindfully to abandon the sensual lust. So this is the understanding of the divine being. So when we take this verse, the important thing is the way the divine being sees it. He is saying that these bhikkhus are so eager, and they are exerting their entire energy to abandon the sensual lust. And the similes is giving us so beautiful. When someone is smitten by a sword, you don't ask who has made this sword, whether the sword is in gold, or whether it's stainless steel, or whether it's silver, or how sharp it is, and all sorts of nonsense questions will not be asked. And what that person will do is, as quickly as possible, he will try to take the sword out of his chest and get him treated. Or the other one is even better, as if someone's head is on fire. You will somehow try to jump into some water or put some water or do something to get this fire extinguished, and treat him. So like that, the bhikkhus are wandering mindfully and to abundant sensual lust. So the other important word here is this particular divine being specifically mentioned that bhikkhus are wandering mindfully. Bhikkhus are living mindfully. Bhikkhus are practicing mindfulness. So it's another sharp thing that this particular divine being has picked up. And if they are doing all these things in such a hurry to abandon the sensual lust. And the word bhikkhu may confuse sometimes the listeners here, because we think we have an image of bhikkhus. The image of bhikkhu we have is if he's a bhikkhu or a bhikkhuni, we have the impression that they must have been decorated in saffron robe. If they are not decorated in saffron robe and shaven head, and we are not bhikkhus. That understanding, that perception is a misinterpretation and misunderstanding. A bhikkhu does not mean whether you are a bhikkhu or not, will not be decided by what you wear and how your head looks like. Whether you are a bhikkhu or not will be decided by the way you practice your spirituality, whether you are walking on the path. So therefore, the commentaries say that anyone who has seen the danger in existence and who is trying to come out of that danger is a bhikkhu, irrespective of whether they are lay practitioners or recluse, right? And some of the lay practitioners are much better than those who are wearing saffron robe, because a lot of people who wear those saffron robe, they don't walk on the path, so they haven't seen, but they preach everybody else, but they don't live the life they talk. So but so far as lay people are concerned, not all the lay people, there are some lay people, they look after their families, they look after their businesses, they go on their day-to-day livelihood and bring up children and do all sorts of things. But at the same time, they walk on the Buddha's path as well. So when you look at the practitioners in this manner, the misunderstanding that you have, that saffron robe on and the shaven head is bhikkhu is wrong. So it's what you do to walk on the path of the Buddha is important in deciding whether you are a bhikkhu or not. So you may have seen when we worship the Sangha, the community of monks, and it is very clearly mentioned 4 pairs of people and 8 types of persons, which means those who are really engaged in the path of the Buddha. So why I am taking some time to say this is because I'm talking to some lay people, and when lay people hear the word bhikkhu, they take few steps back, not just one, and they may get the impression, okay, these damn things are not relevant to us, and they are only for bhikkhu and those who are living in the jungle, or at least wearing saffron robe. So you'll have to get that cleared first, and then make up your mind that it is not necessary for you to have that uniform, but still, if you walk on the path, you are a bhikkhu, you are a practitioner, and this particular sutta relates to you. And he's talking about why the bhikkhu live mindfully is to abandon the sensual lust, and that we will have to understand clearly this sensual lust thing. And there is a discourse in again Sanyukta Sutta. I'm sorry, Sanyukta. In other words, connected discourses. The name of the sutta is Thani Sutta. So in this Thani Sutta, the Blessed One says, bhikkhus, by frequently giving attention to things that are a basis for sensual lust, unarisen sensual desire arises, and arisen sensual desire increases and expands. And in Pali it says, Kama ragatthaniyanam bhikkhave dhammanam manasikara bahulikaru anupannocheva kamachando uppajyati uppannocheva kamachando biyo bhavaya vepullaya samvatiti. The meaning of it is what I mentioned a little while ago. If you give frequent attention to things that arouse your sensual lust, and that leads to sensual desire. So, in other words, sensual lust is a fundamental thing. Sensual lust is at the bottom of the hierarchy, and it has the root, it has the entire possibility to set the fire. And if you live there too long, or if your attention is more into sensual lust very frequently, and then what happens, that becomes the basis to sensual desire to arise, not just sensual desire to arise, unarisen sensual desire to arise, and because we are already living in sensual desire. And when we have this lustful attention, more and more, unarisen sensual desires arise, and they not only arise, and they increase and expand, and they overwhelm us, they overpower us, they pin down us, and then we think that is our life, and we think that is the prosperity, we think that is the development, and that is what the entire business world is selling us. That is what all the governments in the world are telling us. That is what all the schools are teaching us. How you keep your frequent attention to sensual lust, how you constantly arouse your sensual desire, how you keep on expanding it, is the motto, is the theme in our ordinary life. And this, when you take this equation or this relationship in simple sense, sensual lust leads to sensual desire, and sensual desire leads to sensuality, and we entangle in sensuality, and we don't know what we do. And if someone is talking slightly against sensuality, he or she will be considered antisocial. He or she will be considered something wrong, and he or she must be sent to a psychiatrist or psychologist, or something is wrong with that person. And that is what a lot of people have told. When I ordained, they have told my wife, my former wife, that something may be wrong in the family without directly telling. And when I heard those things, and I gave them my 2 cents worth of speech, my what do you call, real mind came out and explained them what it is. So people don't understand that we are entangled and we are completely controlled and governed by sensuality. So before talking about the eradication of sensual lust, therefore, if we are in entanglement with the sensuality, we will have to first come out of it. And then we will have to come out of sensual desire. And then only we will be able to go to sensual lust. So therefore, we or most of us living lay life to a greater extent, we live in the sensual world, we live in the sensuality. So therefore, it will be important for us to understand, before talking about sensual lust, a little bit of sensuality, which you already know. But I'm talking to an audience who is questioning this sensuality. And I can't give this, I can't go to a public gathering and I can't give this talk. They will throw stones at me. They will chase me away and they will really set my head on fire, because they might see me as an antisocial person and they will not be able to grasp this thing. But for this audience, and they have that required maturity to understand, to accept what I am talking about. So in sensuality, there is just one thing that we do, and that thing is that thing is trying our level best to keep our faculties satisfied, sensual faculties, sense faculties satisfied. So what are our sense faculties? We have our eye, we have our ear, we have our nose, tongue, and the body. So these are the sensual faculties. We try to keep these things happy. That is what we do ever since we came out of our mother's womb. When we come out of our mother's womb, we come out crying, asking for milk. That is the only food you have when you are born. And keep crying until you get it. And as soon as it is over, again you cry, and then mother feeds you and you will be happy. And again you feel hungry and you will cry and you will be fed and you will be happy. And this crying keeps on going your entire life. And the one who has come to the world crying for milk, mother's milk, and keeps crying for everything, and you try to keep happy your sense faculty. Initially, only your tongue you are trying to satisfy and keep happy. And after that, you want to keep all your eyes, all other faculties happy as well. And when you grow up and if you ask for things that satisfy your eyes, satisfy your nose, etc., your parents will be also very happy. They will consider that you are growing. And the society will be happy that you are becoming another valuable asset in the competitive market. And you generate a market, you create a market, and you will be an important person to the world. So that is how the society is looking at it. But the Blessed One says the person trying to satisfy the sense faculties are really suffering, because it is like these sense faculties are fighting with each other all the time, which we don't know. And the Blessed One is giving a nice simile for it. Blessed One says our sense faculties are like animals tied onto one single rope. Animals in the sense, different types of animals. Suppose a snake is tied onto a rope, and to the same rope a crocodile is also tied on, and to the same rope, a bird is tied on, and for the same rope, a dog is tied, and then for the same rope, a fox or a jackal is tied, right? So what happens when all these guys are tied together? The snake will try its level best to go and hide in an ant hill. That is his dwelling place. And crocodile will try its level best to take everybody else and go to water, because that is his abode. And then bird will try its level best to take everyone and go to the sky, because that is an animal who is flying and living in trees and high places. And the dog, in the meantime, wants to go to the village, because that is where he gets food. That is where he usually lives, and not tied onto a rope as such. So he doesn't care who else is tied onto the rope. And the jackal, on the other hand, will try. Of course, it is not true nowadays in the present world, but during Buddha's time, jackal will try its level best to go to the charnel ground, where the bodies are thrown, because that is where he gets his food. All the jackals will go and eat the thrown away bodies, and he can keep his tummy full if he gets there. So he tries to take everyone, all other animals, tied onto that rope to the charnel ground. So this is what is happening within us in our own body. When we give something to our eye, ear is very hungry, nose is very hungry, it is trying to get something else. And when you satisfy your ear, eye is trying to gets our attention, and so on and so forth. And to give attention, we have only one attention, we have only one energy. So when that energy is given to one thing, and when other people are trying to get the attention, if you are not getting stressed, if you are not getting tired, if you are not getting the tension, then it is a problem. By looking at the way, by looking at the analogy that the Buddha is giving, this is how the sensual world is, then it's a real problem. But although it's a problem, what we see in the present world is that this suffering, our sense faculties fighting with each other, is something that a lot of people enjoy. In other words, a lot of people enjoy this suffering. Therefore, the Blessed One said, after becoming Lord Buddha, and when he met the 5 ascetics, the first thing he said was, I have realized the truth. The first truth is truth of suffering. We are so eager to suffer, and we do anything to bring suffering up. And that is what the sensual world is. And this is how Lord Buddha looks at it. And therefore, Lord Buddha, not Lord Buddha, therefore, our teacher, Lukuhamudro, says that all our main sense faculties are as close as possible to the brain. Ear, nose, tongue, eyes, everything as close as possible to the brain, so that message can be passed so quickly. And that is the evolution of human beings, and that evolution has happened to maximize the suffering from the perspective of the Blessed One. And therefore, Blessed One says, when people decide that something has to be considered or not, he will give priority to these sensual faculty. And the sensual faculty that leads all our decision, the main one is the eye. So if you have really seen something, there is nothing better than that. And even when you go to a court, what they will ask is, did you see it? And tell me what you saw. And if you have some proof of what you have seen, such as a video or a photograph, then everyone is convinced. So that much our sensual faculty is influencing our decision making. So therefore the Blessed One says, Rupa Pramana, the magnitude of your vision or the visual object that you see is the best and is the biggest. So therefore, when you build a house, you try to build the biggest house as possible. And when you buy a TV, you want to buy a TV at least half an inch bigger than your neighbor's TV. When you buy a car, at least you should have one nut, one bolt, one valve more than your neighbor's car, more than your friend's car, more than your brother's car, more than your brother-in-law's, sister-in-law's car. Because it is decided by what you see and the visual object. And once that is satisfied, the next thing that decides thing will be Blessed One says goes up pramana. Goes up pramana means size of the sound. And that is why you have Dolby, this, disco, that, and all that. And there are digital sounds and all sorts of sounds. You know, you young people know much more than I know about the sound. And what I am doing at the moment is also goes up pramana. I am also shouting here, and you guys are listening. And that is exactly what Lord Buddha says. Things are decided by how much and how well and to what extent you can talk. So such is the power of the sense faculties, and these are the things that decides our decision making. And in that sutta there are a few more things that are given. I'm not going into details of that because they tend to be part of the spiritual world. So since we are talking about the sensual world, so what I simply want to say is to what extent, to what magnitude this sensuality affects our life. So therefore, when you in general look at the society, entire economic system are based on these things. So therefore, how developed you are will be decided by gross national product, gross national income. And if it is an individual, it is per capita income or per capita production is what is more important. And all the economic decisions will be based on MC equal MR. So until such time your cost and revenue equals from one additional unit, you keep on squeezing and misappropriating both the customer as well as the supplier, and you try to take the cream of everybody and maximize your sense pattern. And in economics, the worst part is this deficiency of human beings is really misused, is really understood by the advertising company. And they know that we human beings are never satisfied. So they keep on creating new things. And we fall into them like flies going on to light. When a fly see a light, they think that it is gold and they just come running and jump into the light, jump into the fire, and they burn their feathers. But still, although they burn their feathers, they won't just go away. they somehow the scroll and get into the fire and then get burned and kill themselves by jumping. And this is exactly what we are doing, and the advertising companies know it, and multinational companies know it. So they make some adjustment every year. Every year they will have new model. Every year they will have a new design, and they are spending billions to that. And then this unsatisfactory nature of human beings is used to get our hard-earned money. And we also, to get that new gadget, we also do any damn thing. We take loans that can be paid in 50 years, and then buy these things and show the world. We want to show the world that we are developed and that we are happy and that we have everything. And the education system is trying to teach people as much as possible, teach students as much as possible, that you will have to be creative. What do you mean by creative? Don't just be happy with what you have. Be unhappy all the time. And they will have a better way. They will have more things. They will have nicer things. And they give all sorts of talks to get that out of you. And they call it positive thinking as well. And if you go and give a talk like this, everyone will be sending you to jail for life imprisonment, because you are such a antisocial person, and such a person should not be allowed to be lived in the society freely, because totally against the lunacy of the society. So there is no need for me to tell you about how our politicians or political world, political environment is misusing these things. And we can't say misusing these things because they themselves don't know what they are doing. So they are taking all our troubles when they have not solved their own problem. They are trying to teach us to be happy. They are trying to give everything that we want when they themselves can't keep them happy. So therefore, it's like, blind following the blind, and no one knows where they are going. And the worst part, the most sad part, is this sensual world has taken over even the spirituality. And it is very hard to find. I'm not talking about other religions. If we take Buddhism, there is no place. It is very hard to find a place where they don't tell people when they are blessing, may you get this, may you get that, may you get the other thing, may you get the other thing as well. They keep wishing to get these all sorts of things that sensual faculties will be satisfied, whereas the Blessed One has said they are nonsense. Blessed One has said we are suffering from them. Just come out of it, was the Blessed One is saying. But all our religious leaders, rather than saying all, most of our religious leaders, and they are wishing for good luck, good prosperity, and they think that is what they should be doing. And instead of telling the reality of life, instead of telling the reality of living, instead of telling the reality of existence, the worst part is, which none of the other structures have taken over, the religious structures have taken over, even to keep our deceased happy. And they have taken that contract. Whereas politicians and educationists and economists have not taken that contract. But unfortunately, our religious leaders have taken that contract, and they try to keep our deceased happy as well. And they bring out quotations from Buddhism itself to support their factor. Whereas the Blessed One has said, if you can, when you put some ghee in a clay pot into a pond, and if you break that clay pot open, naturally the pieces of the clay pot will go down to the bottom of the pond and the ghee will start floating. And nobody will be able to preach or pray and get the pieces of the clay pot up and get the floating ghee go down. Nobody can do that. And the Blessed One says, I can't therefore take anybody who has gone to hell to a better life. It is what he has done. But whereas what we hear from our religious masters is that they can do it. You will have to give just string hoppers only, and you will be, they will be making that contract and taking all the deceased people, giving deceased people a better life. So unfortunately, they are doing such a passing such a wrong message to the followers. So the followers are completely misled and lost in what they should know. And another thing that is happening, this is especially happening in the Western world. Now this mindfulness, this monkist, or rather not the monk, mindfulness, this divine being is talking, is used by the Western world to achieve their petty sensual objective. And I think even the other day I mentioned, I read somewhere when I was working, there is a mindful beer drinking place in Brisbane, West End. I don't know where it is, but I have heard, and I have seen the pictures of it. And Google and see, there are mindful sex clubs as well. So this is where the mindfulness is going, so far as the Western world is concerned. They are using mindfulness because they know that the sensitivity will be high, so that they can get higher pleasure. So whatever good thing that the Western world will get, they will try to make it, they will try to use it to optimize their sensuality. So this is where now, unfortunately, the mindfulness is also taken by the society. So why I'm telling these things is simply before coming on to the sensual lust, or before coming on to sense desire, we should understand, we should have some understanding of how deep we are bogged down in this pile of excrete called sensuality. And the Blessed One says, we are like a dog who is chewing a bone. When a dog initially gets a bone, what there will have some flesh left in the bone, and some marrow bone will be there, and he will be just sucking and licking it, and he will eat that. But after eating them, it will not just let that bone go, just keep on biting, chewing. And there will have a point. His own mouth will start bleeding, and he will be enjoying his own blood. This is exactly what human beings do who are not walking on the path, or who are not at least thinking to walk on the path. They are just like this simile, a dog biting, chewing a piece of bone. Or another simile that the Blessed One giving is that, like, I don't know how to call Koholla Baba. There is some sticky juice coming out of a tree, and what the hunters do is they make a puppet from this and keep it somewhere under a foot of a tree, and then when the monkeys come, they see it's like a baby. So the monkeys very curious to see what it is. And some monkeys will just come and sniff and go. They don't do anything. But there will be some monkeys who want to touch and see. So when they touch this sticky thing, their hand gets stuck. So they can't take their hand. So what they do is to take that hand, they put the other hand and try to pull, and then the both get stuck. And then since both the hands are stuck, now they put one leg and try to pull the hands out, the leg also gets stuck. And likewise, put the other leg as well, and that also gets stuck. Finally, he hits his head on this sticky thing, and even the head gets stuck, and the entire body is stuck in now this sticky doll or sticky puppet. And then the hunters very easily come and take the monkeys and then have their food. They kill the monkey. So like that, we are also stuck in the sensuality, and we do not know under whose agenda we are working. We don't know who is leading us, who is controlling us. So Blessed One says, if there is someone, if there, suppose there is a leper who has, itchiness and scratching and wounds all over his body, and he will be happy only to the extent he can scratch it as hard as possible. And if he can scratch it hard, then he will be getting so much of pleasure. And pleasure will be even more if you can take this wound closer to fire, and he will be even enjoying that. But that enjoyment will be even maximized if he can take a burning iron rod and roll it on its wound. He will be even happier. So much so it is scratching, and more you scratch, more you make it painful, that person, that leper, will be getting so much of enjoyment out of it. And one day the Blessed One says in Magandhya Sutta, a good doctor sees this leper and then give medication and cure him. And after curing him, the doctor is asking this man to go to some place and then ask a very strong man to hold him and take an iron rod and roll over his leg or over the body as if he was doing. And the Blessed One is asking whether that man whose wound is cured will allow that. Blessed One says that man will try its level best to beat the doctor, beat that man, and somehow or other escape from it. So this is exactly what he's saying. Don't be like a dog licking a bone. Don't be like a monkey stuck on a sticky doll or sticky puppet. You get your wound cured and completely go away out of it. And that is what all you people have done today when you are practicing from 6:30 Brisbane time. And you did your walking practice, you did your sitting practice. That is practicing of mindfulness, because you have seen some burning, some pressure in this normal way of living, and you want to come out of it. And therefore, I can tell this to this audience. You are happy listening to this because you have seen the danger that we are carrying and you are trying to come out of. And then Next week, I'm trying to reverse this equation: sensual lust, sensual desire, sensuality. Sensuality is what we discussed today. And when we are bogged down so much in sensuality, and when there are people like you ready to come out of it, we can see how it is getting reversed. And I will try to explain that in the next talk on next Tuesday. And for when we hear these things, when we have this path like this is open, people like you will see birth of a Buddha is a blessing for such people. When you get joyous by listening to talk like this, by listening to what the Buddha has said about sensuality, you feel that the birth of a Buddha is a blessing. And listening to Dhamma is the most enjoyable thing that you will have. And being part of that Sangha community by practicing the way you are practicing is something that you will have to admire yourself, because there are very, very few people like you are available in this society. So may you be able to strive as much as possible and come out of this painful sensual world which you are already, and see from the practice what you are doing, how we will come to sensual desire and sensual lust. And then we can see what the Blessed One tells this divine being. Blessed One is looking at it in completely different. So I haven't come to that yet. So we will discuss that in our next few sessions. So I'm not saying next week. Next week we will be discussing about sensual desire, and then we will see how the reverse process happened into what the Blessed One is saying. So with that, thank you for very much listening, and I'll be concluding my talk here. Is there any question? So we can take few minutes for any question. Before that, give me a second. My computer battery is dying. All right, I'm ready. Anybody with me? Yes.
We're pretty good. We're good here, Bante, but that was a really good Dharma talk that you just did. What I got from that with the sensual desire, so sensual lust essentially is the origin of getting that desire. Say for example, it's a sexual desire. The origin of that is you lusting after it, isn't it? Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah. Basically, yes.
Yeah.
That is where the base is, and that base is anyway there. So what the Blessed One says in Thana Sutta is that if your attention is in the lust, then always unarisen desires come.
Yeah.
Right? Say for example, since we say sexuality is something that we can easily relate to. So since you have that, whenever there is a frock hanging on the clothesline, we want to just turn and see. And there is no woman. But that lust is there, and just seeing a cloth.
It's like a trigger. It like triggers it, doesn't it?
It is so much inbuilt in our mentality.
Yeah.
And just see how rooted it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, what basically it's right. That is where the base is, and then it turns into desire, and then we get entangled in the sensuality. And the end of sensuality, the Blessed One says, I didn't go to that level. Blessed One says the highest sense desire is man being with a woman, woman being with a man, and we do everything for that.
Yeah.
That is the highest achievement.
Yeah.
So therefore, people are not one man is not happy with one woman. Woman is not happy with one man. That is what is happening to all the societies now, except for very few people.
Yeah.
Endless entanglement in the sensuality.
Yeah. Thank you, Bante. I think you've
Or
got Nilasthana, I think.
yes,
Yeah,
Nilan.
Nilanta, yeah. And
Tesla boss.
yeah.
Alright.
I was doing a practice without any guidance or anything, listening to listening to Dhamma talk so long, and I think I completely lost right now. And because I think what I'm doing is right, but I think it's just it's the practice time reduced to 30 minutes. Still doing it every day, but and also if I explain my walking meditation today, I did 30 minutes before the before joining this, and I started practice session by start walking relax, and then um, I'm recently worrying about few things, and one of the thing is I want to test myself. Like I have a new mental condition, which is living more into like a present moment. Like it's different. It's awkward, and it's like things it's like I don't have past. It's like dementia. I don't know. It just things remember like randomly, and I do things, but it mind reminds me everything, but doesn't have long term um, plan. Or I'm stop worrying about it, but just want to test that during the walking meditation. I know, I think I have a bit of anxiety about that. And then uh, something came to mind about work, and then trace back where it's happened. Something like a figure. It started that conversation in my mind, and came out of that, continue to put more effort into like to my feet, and find it like rhythm, and also where the pressure distribution, and also how my leg has a bit of a like a cross, the weight is distributed across the leg, and then there was a second thought line, and there's a pain after that. Still focus on walking meditation, and then because it's 15 minutes, bell rang, and then came down and sit down and start doing sitting meditation. um, Usually I don't have long time to follow my breath. After a couple of breaths, I go in a circle, like a cycle, most of the time, like kind of in a dark space, and then sometimes I wake up, but again it goes back, and um in between those wake up cycles, I follow the breathing cycle. And day-to-day activities, as I try to explain, it's a new thing. Start forgetting things, but it's not. I feel like, I don't know, maybe too much strong satya or something else, doing like something occupying, not like missing stuff or completely forgetting. Forget remembers, but when I go towards or doing something, all the steps remembers. It remembers me, but don't have long term memory. Like, I just can't plan things too much. Um, and also, I have a bit of a tingling happening on my face, like one side of my chin, and even went to doctor and asked. He said no, nothing to worry about it, but that vibration feeling is always there, and it goes away, it comes back, but during that time, mostly
Right.
thinking about it.
Okay. So of these things, is there any particular thing that you want clarification, or is there any question in things that you mentioned?
Mostly, I need the clarification about the mental condition right now I'm experiencing.
Yeah, so in other words, what you are saying is this loss of memory is something that you expect clarification about.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's a
Yeah, no,
mixed soup.
I
And
understood the
yeah,
scenario. I
yeah,
understood the
yeah,
scenario. Just
yeah,
I'm trying to understand where you
yeah,
want the clarifications on. And
yeah.
anything else? Anything
Bante?
else? Is that the only one?
About the tingling sensation, and
Tingling sensation,
do I need to worry about it?
sensation as well. Okay.
Yeah.
And before coming on to those things, do you remember what mindfulness is?
Uh, Mindfulness is
Just with 2 words.
the present moment. Like, yeah, it just
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, is there anybody else who will be able to tell what mindfulness is? He's saying present moment. Anybody else who will be able to contribute to that? Is present moment mindfulness, or is there any other better way to explain it? Or 2 words I'm asking.
Is it the choiceless awareness? Sorry, answer?
Yes. Yeah, he's saying choiceless awareness. So if I ask Nilanta, are you going for still the present moment, or are you going for choiceless awareness?
I think it's a choiceless awareness, I think.
Yeah, choiceless awareness is the mindfulness. Choiceless, when you become, or when it is choiceless awareness, it is even more stronger, right? And when you take that perspective and look at the 2 questions, what do you say? Do you have choiceless awareness for tingling sensation? Do you have choiceless awareness for loss of memory? Yes or no?
Yes.
I'm saying no. Because
Yeah, I do have a choice. Yeah, I don't like
you
it.
are
Yeah,
trying to choose. You are trying to choose. Tingling sensation should not be there, and I should go and see a doctor, and this fellow should be able to get rid of it. So you have seen it. It has come to you and is showing that this is how your body is, but you don't want to accept. You want to choose. And because you are practicing choiceless awareness, it has come to light. But giving the gift is not enough. You should accept it as well. So this is very important. If you have choiceless awareness, no matter what comes in your way, you simply accept it. Maybe you feel that you are going to die. Accept it. If you have choiceless awareness, I'm not saying that you should go and sleep on a road, right?
yeah,
When you're
yeah,
practicing, any damn thing will happen, accept it. Now you are talking about your practice. You are not talking about anything else. This is happening when you are practicing.
yeah,
And when you live your day-to-day life, you feel some tingling sensation. You feel your tingling sensation. Since your sensitivity is high, since your mindfulness is high, so you should be Madhubalgen Talandora. එක වෙද්දි මේ දොස්තරලා හොයාගෙන යනවට ඔබලා තමයි දොස්තරලා හදන්නේ. It's not necessary to go and see doctors for those things. And when your sensitivity is high, we feel the changes in our body. This our body is all the time tingling. It is having this sensation from the time you were conceived in mother's womb. That is how it has been happening, and that is how we have grown. Now, since your mind is sharp, you are able to see that it's not a disease, it's not a problem, it's not an issue. It's the increasing in your mindfulness. It is because you realize very, very nicely walking on the path. And the loss of memory is also the same thing. It is not a mental condition. So what words are you using to explain this thing? It's not a mental condition. Simple observation, choiceless awareness means we don't take any damn perception. So we simply see that something is there and it is coming, we just observe. So when we observe, we don't take images into our head. So our head is not full. So when our head is not full, we feel it is weird. That is what the Blessed One wants. And you very clearly says, but when you go to office, you don't have any such issue. So you are trying some or other to create an issue for yourself. This is why Lord Buddha says, first noble truth is suffering. No matter what we do, our mind wants some sort of a suffering. And the beauty of mindfulness is when even from practicing when this suffering is created, mindfulness can see that suffering.
Yeah.
Then you see how vulgar, how cunning our mind is. What sort of agenda the mind is having, you will be able to see that. You have seen all that, but not appreciate it. So now what you will have to learn is, while practicing, appreciate the fact you are aware of all these things. So that appreciation gives you a currency that the entire world is looking for. That currency is the happiness. When you appreciate and be happy of seeing these things because your mindfulness, your stock of happiness will increase. Nobody will be able to steal that. Nobody will be able to take it. Nobody will be able to give you as well. So take that, and that is what the practice is telling you now. Did it make any sense?
Yes, Bante. I mean, I observe that, and my mindfulness also telling that, but I do have that insight, like this is something different, and because when I do like career wise or giving advice, I can see that I'm doing better, and I can see facts more clearly now, and they're a lot more improved in kind of sense, like things I uh, resolve, or like even a work environment. But the thing is that still the mind is telling from the sideline, uh, you lost something, like
Yeah, so this is where the mindfulness comes into the picture. You should see that sideline now. Your
yeah,
periphery of the vision has to be broadened now. Now it is
yeah.
widening. So this is why now you are seeing there is another thing by the side of the road, and take that also under mindfulness. This is trying to take me in this direction, in the direction of suffering, and I see that. I observe that as well.
Okay.
This is a good achievement, and this is a good good observation. And just observation won't do. Make it choiceless, and appreciate the fact that you are aware of it, because the mindfulness is important.
Thank you, Bante.
Everyone, Sarana.
Everyone, sir.
Anybody else? And before I forget, there are a few people here have already registered for the retreats that we have. And if there is anybody else interested, please tell your friends. And if you are not registered, please register as quickly as possible. And it is getting filled fast. All right, so if you don't have anything else, we can chant and pass on the merits. So do you have the copy? Or Steve, do you have the copy?
I don't have the copy, Bante, but I should, if you start it, I should be able to continue it on, like from memory.
Yeah, now let me see. I must be having it somewhere here. I'll share it so that everybody will be able to recite with us. Here is Tamarapita, here is Pali chanting, and here is the aspiration. Yes, so you can start chanting now. To conclude the session, we can share the merits with all the living beings. So can I kindly request Steve to chant the stanzas, please?
Yep. Can you just double click on it? Just bring it up for me.
Can't you see?
No, I can't see it just yet. No.
Yeah, just give me a second. I think I will let it go to the screen. How is it now?
Yep, got it. Yep.
Just give me a second, I think. Yeah.
Yep, okay. May all Devas share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all other beings share this
merit.
we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all beings inhabiting space and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protected dispensation. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty powers, having shared this merit, long protected teaching. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect me and others. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly, I have done any wrong, forgive, O Master, O Victor, greatly wise. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly, I have done any wrong, forgive, O Dharma, be seen here and now, timeless. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly, I have done any wrong, forgive, O Sangha, practice the incomparable. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. Merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. So
Thank you, Bhante.
Everyone, Saranai.
Thank you, Bhante.
Everyone, Saranai.
Thank you, Bhante. Everyone, Saranai.